Go live. Go live. And we're live, everybody. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're not going to do Instagram today. Screw those guys. Hello, everybody. Today is August 10th, 2023, and we have this edition of the Better at Beach podcast with three hosts, two sitting in one computer, twinning nicely. My name is Mark Burrick, and their names are Logan Weber and Matt Hazel. This should be goofy.
No, what are you talking about, Mark?
This is it. Yeah, it's gonna be a really serious podcast.
Yeah.
Know that.
Might be some crying even.
It's been a long few days.
If you guys at home are listening to the podcast version, just know that there is a companion version on YouTube. So if you go to our playlist on YouTube, it is going to be the online video analysis playlist and the podcast playlist. So some of what we say might not make sense if you're not watching the video, but what we do in these meetings specifically, even though we change the time for our elite members, they get to submit their videos and we are going to help them. So my name is Mark. I played on the AVP and the FIVB for a little while, and I coach and run Better at Beach, and I'll allow
Oh, you're back. All right.
He's
give
back.
yourselves an introduction.
You want to go first?
No, you go first. Best for last.
Best for last.
Yeah.
What do you mean best for last? Come on, man. I'm Matt. I'm from South Carolina. Moved out to California a little while ago, and then now I'm down in Florida. Oh yeah, good catch. And I'm over all of the online coaching, and so that's pretty much what's going on here. So get to hang out with these guys all the time and give feedback in our Facebook group. So it's a blast.
Nice.
And I'm playing too. So
What?
I'm playing a Chicago qualifier tomorrow with my friend Nick DiMatteo, and then on
Where is it?
Manhattan.
Not Manhattan.
Huntington. It's in Huntington, and then Manhattan on next. So qualifier guy right now. It's been fun. It's been a fun journey this year. So hopefully it goes well.
Loganator?
I am Logan Weber. Playing on the AVP since 2019, I guess, was my full season. My first full season. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan originally. I moved out to California in 2018 and lived with Mr. Mark for about 2 years. And
Awful.
Yeah. Worst 2 years of my life. No, it was good.
No,
And,
what the worst was cleaning up your collection of wrappers that
Yes.
fell between your bed and the wall.
Yeah.
And when me and Janelle finally moved your stuff out,
They're in his car now.
seeing how many leftover snacks and to-go
That's
food
weird.
cartons were there.
But it
Professional athlete eating. Yuck.
Yes. Oh yeah, I gained a lot of weight from all those, I'm sure. But yeah, I've been playing on the AVP now since 2019. I've started playing international World 21-ish. And yeah, been doing that. We had a NORCECA qualifier out in Manhattan Beach, which myself and my current partner Hagen Smith won, which was for those of you who live in Southern California and don't know what NORCECA qualifiers are, they're like the best kept secret of basically all of the top teams outside of your top like 4 in the country. Basically play a single elimination tournament to see who gets to go to these international tournaments. And it's just wild because even qualifier there back in like June, which was it was every top team in the country was playing in this single elimination tournament to get to go to the most important tournament outside of the Olympics. And it's on like a Tuesday morning with nobody there, just a ref in the teams. So if somehow you can with when those events are, they're they're pretty high level fun to watch tournaments that nobody really knows about. So.
And you can sit 10 feet from the court.
Yes.
Like there's no tickets, there's no anything. It's bonkers that USA doesn't treat those as higher ticket opportunities or find a way to advertise them and get fans. I mean, I know that USA Volleyball is not in the professional beach volleyball circuit. That's not what they're priding themselves on. But to see 8 teams who are all vying for world championships and top of AVP, it's like, how is this not bigger? So if you guys are in the South Bay, there's just a whole secret universe here that people you don't know about and you don't understand what's happening, and you can't, and it's difficult to qualify for anything international because the USA Volleyball does not make noise about any of those signups or anything like that.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to, if you want to play them, you have to be constantly checking the USA website. Send out like a monthly newsletter being like, hey, there's NORCECA qualifiers on this random Tuesday. It's just up like a week before, and that's, they're usually 10 to 12 teams, all single elimination. And like I said, the World, which obviously those only once every 2 years or so, but that event is winning that event is more consequential to your volleyball career than winning the Manhattan Beach Open. Like getting to go to World Champs is a massive. It's pretty wild to see. I think the finals this year were Miles and Andy played Miles Evans and Chase Budinger, and our buddy Eric has some like video on YouTube. Literally looks like they're just out there like playing a pickup match and just happens to have like a referee. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, that's the kind of random stuff when you live down in the South Bay area that you can just kind of walk next, know what's going on.
Yeah, which is funny because you're also, once you're down here, you're like, wait a second, that's the number 1 AVP team versus the number 5 AVP team, just hanging out on the beach at 10 a.m. Like yesterday, we ran the kids camp and we had 10 kids. 9 of the 10 kids were my nephews and nieces, but we're not going to talk about the success or failure of that event. But the cool part was, I go, hey guys, look right next to us. These 4 girls who were competing against us were all top 10 AVP. And, there's one Olympian and Sarah Pavin who had been number 1 in the world for like a year and a half. And it's just, right next to you, bunch of 8-year-olds who are, trying to learn how to bump. Literally 15 feet away is a world champion and number 1 competing against in the US, the top 10 athletes. And it's a wild environment here that's I don't know if there are any other environments like it. I know that like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here, MMA in Southern California is big. Like you can walk around and you can see people, and there's a lot of gyms that are very thick with great coaches. But where else, in what other sports are people centralized like this?
Yeah. Even then, like,
and in the public,
something like that. Yeah, you're at a gym or you're at a facility, something like that. Whereas here, it's literally like some random people just like sun tanning, and then right next. Oh, by the way, like this is the best team. In the case of Miles and Andy, like this is potentially the best beach volleyball team in the entire world, just hanging out right here. So crazy stuff.
So accessible. It's great. It's kind of like the skill level of Rucker Park, right, in New York, where you get these guys who could have been or should have been pros, but for whatever reason they aren't in the NBA, but probably could if they grinded. But imagine Rucker Park was just like now filled with Steph Curry.
Yeah,
I'm aging myself, but Shaq. Just name a current big man a current basketball big man, so I just always still refer to Shaq.
I don't know who's elite. I don't know who. Davis.
Yeah.
KD.
KD.
I don't know. Okay. So, what we're going to do while our members are gathering all of their video links and getting them prepared, and we're waiting for people to call in, I'll just inform everybody who's listening in the audience, guys, this is our elite member group. So, our elite member group on Better at Beach, they get full access to our library, all of our courses, and those courses have tutorials and they have drill assignments that you should do to improve. Whether you take our passing course or our setting course or our arm swing course, you have the chance to improve that. And along the way, you post those videos that we tell you to record into our private Facebook group. And then we have the opportunity to coach you. And within 24 hours, we have a mandate that we need to give you coaching based on that video or that question. So it's a very active private Facebook group. And if you want coaching from current and former and future professional players and coaches who are trained and dedicating their lives to do this, we're here to help you. Just go to betteratbeach.com/coaching. No matter what you sign up for with us, it opens up all of the courses and workout programs, and it gives you access to that Facebook group. If you choose to get the upgrade, then you get on episodes like this where we get to talk to you in person over the phone. I guess not in person, but we get to talk to you and really dive deep into your video and your strategy. So I'm looking forward to our members starting to post their links and having some questions. And I see, Julie, you are in the chat. If you could direct me to one or just ask me to look for one of your videos on Facebook, then I will, and let me know what you're looking for. Then we can start heading there. While you guys are gathering those links and questions and getting ready to call in, me, Matt, Logan, we're going to talk about what we did today. Guys, we had a practice. So Logan and local big man, Big Sal. What did you guys think went well? What were you focusing on? Let's have a little after session.
Sure. Beautiful. All right, I'll go first. Best first this time.
No.
Sick. Well, so to give a little bit of context to the practice, Hagen and I were coming off of a very smooth day on Tuesday where we felt really good about just about everything that we did. And it was funny because we were talking, Hagen and I were, and we like to kind of debrief after every tournament just to try to like discuss how the tournament went kind of objectively. And after that debrief, and we were like, well, we didn't really talk about anything we did wrong. So trying to what we wanted to work on today, it was more pulling things from Atlanta weekend and the Hermosa AVP, which was a couple weeks before that, to kind of keep hitting on the things that we felt like we needed to work on after that tournament, not necessarily just based on what we did Tuesday, since Tuesday again felt pretty smooth to us. One of the things we wanted to was making sure that we're passing forward to the net and really being intentional with like where we put our pass. A lot of the times we get too caught up in what comes after the pass, and we wonder why we're not siding out or why we can't see the defense, when part of the problem is we're passing at like 15 to 18 feet from the net instead of 4 to 6 feet from the net. And having that approach that actually takes us with the ball in front of us and the defense in front of us just fixes so many problems when it comes to your side out. So we worked on that a bit. We also, we've been working defensively, trying to make like smaller moves and not making like big jukes, but making like small steps to try to fool the offense a bit. So that was kind of our main focus. And then making sure that we're reaching high on our swings and not being too early or too under the ball. So we did including a pretty hilarious one where Mark and Matt and Sal just triple blocked in front of me, and then I had to try to hit over them, which was a good time. Those things where, like, if you make things more difficult in practice than they'll ever be in a match, then a match, everything else seems extremely. Like, if I can hit over a triple block in front of me, then when there's only 2 hands instead of 6 hands, everything's going to feel a lot more simple and a lot easier. We used to do a similar practice kind of drill to that, where we would have one person with like a boogie board as a blocker, and then there would be, and we would have to score against 2 defenders and a boogie board block. So it just kind of challenges you. It's a good drill if you feel that maybe you're a little bit better level than just in general, to be able to put 4 people on the court. If you can score against 4 people, you can definitely score against 2 people. We have the athletes. Is Sarah Musselman in any of your online?
She doesn't. She posts more than anybody, but asks questions the least of anybody, which is like a very strange phenomenon.
Sarah's Sarah's probably been to 3 or the St. Pete camps now, and she does this absolutely hilarious thing where she plays with her and just another partner in a fours league night. Wow. And so she plays 2-on-4 like once a week, and she posts all these highlights from it, which is just awesome.
That's sick.
But she's like, well, nobody, like, there's only 1 day a week of 2s from, which I think is like Fort Wayne. She doesn't really care that much about playing 4s, but she's like, well, if I can score against 4 people, I can score against 2 people. I'm like, yep, you're right. But it's just awesome to see her post clips, like beating teams too.
That's great.
I think for me and Sal have never played together before, so it was a little bit more individual than you guys. Sal and I also found a little bit of rhythm, which was just in one practice and against you guys too, which is very. So I think I was focusing in on waiting in my attack, and then my last 2 steps, like just trying to be very strong every single time. And I felt pretty good about that. A few times where and my hips wouldn't be very disciplined as they should. And I love, Mark, that you kind of shifted that to kind of have my hips sail the hard cross from the right side. Keep my hand up for the high line rather than just go to. So I was kind of.
Could you try to unwrap that as if no one could see it? Explain the scenario and what we were trying to do there.
Yeah, totally. So I was on the right side, and I would pass in front of me, or even if I didn't pass in front of me and it moved a little bit into the court, I would still stack on my setter. And then I would attack and step close to my right, which kind of caused my hips to go strictly into my lines. So there wasn't as much cross court available, because everything was already going line. So I decided to start, which is probably going to become a preference thing for me, where I'm going to start shifting out a little bit more on the right side rather than stacking on the setter, because then it enforces coming in and having my hips locked a little bit more, to where if I'm going line, it's all just going to be in the wrist rather than in the hips and shoulders going with it. So it was really fun to play with today. I try to do that a lot more in the scrimmage too that we did at the end, and I felt like it really well, and I felt like I could also like turn it line fast too, rather than just the high line. So it felt cool for that today.
I want to, if it wasn't clear, I'm not against you stacking and then, or getting, so as a right side, for those of you who are at home, as a right side, after you pass, when you see your setter is in front of you, you should get within 10 feet of width. So if you can imagine, we talk about it at camp like there are two panels. There's like a row essentially that your setter is in, and you should be on the row right next to them, which means that maybe you should be about an arm's distance of width from them. We also say a lot within 10 feet. So you're kind of right next to them, and then you're taking a straight approach forward. What I saw you doing, Matt, is when you got caught inside. So when the set was accidentally set to your left arm and you wanted to open up the line or to hit to the line, you came in, then turned and rotated your chest towards that line and then hit the high line. So that little delay or little tell might give it away to a high level defender if you do it every time. If you sometimes rotate your chest that way and then chop down cross, like a sharp cross wrist away, then you might catch even more defenders. But we're trying to embrace a new skill and say, okay, if the set's inside, how do I hold the defender, make the blocker need to respect my hard cross, and then still get that line? And some people, what Matt was doing, and a lot of people do this, they jump inside, but then they rotate their chest towards the line, and then they hit that high line instead of continuing to accelerate forward. And if you guys have listened to the last 3 episodes with Mike Lessel, this is exactly what we're talking about. If the set is inside, or it's on your left shoulder if you're a right side, you keep going with your chest and your toes at the ball. And then you just continue like you're broad jumping diagonally. Your wrist, and sometimes only turn your wrist, then you're really developing a lot of energy into the cross. So the blocker will probably dive with you. They will want to step in, and the defender is going to bite down. They're going to hold there because you look like you're really threatening coming into the diagonal. Okay. Jump inside, but you can use that wrist away. I'm not saying redesign your approach. You can choose to. There's a lot of players that have, like if you look at videos of Casey Jennings when he used to play as a right-handed player, he took an inside-out approach and he used a lot of wrist away. Okay. I'm just saying right now, you gave away to me that you wanted to hit that line once your chest rotated, and I've never seen you rotate your chest towards that line and then you snap back in the cross. So it's another tool.
Totally. And I think it kind of goes back to the quick sets thing, where like it's helpful to have it in your repertoire, but is it going to be your game? Is it going to be something that you are going to do every single time that you attack, or is it just something that you have available? And so I think that's something that I'm going to have to experiment with and see, is that something that I just want to be my game? Is that what I want to make official as the right-sided player and attacking a little bit more at an angle rather than straight on? Or is that just something that I have available? So I'm going to keep playing with it, though, see how it works. And I think I got a few games and matches here I think we lost Mark again, but he'll be back. But yeah, it's just fun to be in a practice setting like that and just kind of experiment with different things rather than just being like, hey, this is who I am and this is what's going to happen. But being open-minded to new ideas. And so that's what's helpful about having a coach there too, is because like I would have never guessed, I'm going to start kicking out on the right side is what was going to happen today. So I think that was something that was really helpful from you, Mark, to be able to make that happen. So
yeah, I'd say that's a change I made in the last 2 years to my right side. I like my cross body, so I liked being able to stack onto my setter and then maybe move out towards the antenna, and that would open up my crossbody swing. But then I noticed my straight on high line, it got dug a lot, and it got slow. And so then I redesigned where I stepped. I'm not saying right sides right-handed right sides. I'm not saying kick out. I'm just saying half a step to the right and then have a very slight angle into the court instead of a straight line or instead of running towards the antenna. Experiment with that. Number one, you're going to need it a lot because your setters are accidentally going to set your left arm a lot. So you have to be able to deal with that on a regular basis. You're going to need it in a big way in transition.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
How he lined his offense up, and he did it good for a long time. Yeah.
Mark, I think you froze for a second. Can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah. I was saying the outside in approach for a right side. We're not saying that this is what you have to do. We are saying you need this. So, because when you're in transition, and if you dig the ball to the back half of the court, no matter what, you need the outside in approach as a right-handed right side. So, even if you're in system,
I think you're back now.
dang. If you guys are not getting kicked off the internet, I might need you to take over this meeting because my internet is not cooperating.
Hey, fam time, man.
I
That's
guess.
all.
Okay, I'm gonna try to share my screen. Guys, just try to keep me updated, and let's try to look for Julie's video here.
Yeah, I think she sent the link. Hey, Mark, do you want us to share the screen just in case? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you want to take it over?
We can share it just in case it's kind of glitchy.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll stop my screen share. You guys share the screen. I think
Okay.
Julie's post is, I'm going to put it into the chat. Okay, so that's the link you're looking for, and just share that tab. And then later on, I know Sandy.
Gotta do that first. Where is it? Go ahead and do it.
Let me in, Matt.
Oh, we're gonna make it happen. Manage. Member request. Oh, he didn't use the password, Mark. Should we let him in?
Who's this?
His name is Logan Weber.
Uh-oh, do not give away that password. Cancel.
Yeah.
Cancel. He's not allowed in.
Wait, am I good?
You're good. You're good. We should be in the group. We're good.
Tough group to get into.
Oh yeah.
All right.
There we are. Can
Cool.
you guys see that, Mark?
Yep.
Okay.
Sweet.
Julie, go ahead and ask any questions in that chat. I know that you only have chat capability. So if you have any specific questions, go ahead and throw them into that chat. Let's get those big screen. Click into it.
Yeah. Just like Mark, we can't see the chat, so if she asks something specific, let us know.
Got it.
So Julie's on the left side here.
She's looking for advice on her attacking. Ooh, a little fast to slow there, huh?
So I think the initial weight, right? Like this looks super calm here. The first thing I would say is making sure, see how your foot in the air there was taking you to like a very specific spot before the ball is actually set. So if we look at it here, so like this right step is already going to like this angle before you actually see the trajectory of the ball at all, right? So if you see your right foot takes you here, and then every step from there, you have to adjust back outside this way. And then you end up kind of like falling away. That's pretty good shot. Was it in?
Yeah.
Good shot.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been told that really helped me out is instead of timing your approach off of like what your setter is doing, I want you to wait until you see the space between the ball and the setter's hands or platform. So if you wait until, don't necessarily watch the ball and don't necessarily watch your partner, but wait until you see this like airspace after the set to take that like really hard directional step. So if we go to a different one. Let's scroll through this. How do we get out of this one now? Nice. Perfect. Look at that. Okay. So if we go to this next one.
So Julie, I believe, is on the far side. I'm guessing this is a setting one. Mark, you still in there?
Yep, he's still there. Okay. Hang on. What did you say?
Yeah, she said setting on this one. Oh, we could just watch it right here.
No, because I have to hit play.
Oh, never mind. We can't watch it right there.
All right, cool. Setting. Perfect.
That's it. That's a really good fluid last two steps.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're being really nitpicky here, the only thing I would say is you see how you kind of plant and all of your momentum goes like straight up here, and then you end up actually like tilting backwards a little bit. The only thing I would say here is try and like finish with just a little momentum, like going forward, almost so that when you finish, you kind of lift up onto your toes instead of like staying back on your heels and just going with arms there. So that way, instead of kind of the ball going one way and your momentum going the other way, your momentum kind of follows through the ball instead of stopping there.
I was gonna say, I feel like a big piece of that is your starting position too. Like your last two steps look great, but I think you could start a bit lower. And I think we've talked about that before, of like starting a little bit lower in your stance, and then that way it gives you your legs more ability to push and have that back to front feeling. But I think whenever you're standing straight up is when it kind of creates, and maybe your spacing was a little bit of what caused that straight up feeling. But I think if you can create that back to front movement through that set and doing it lower, I think that'll be a good cue for you. Is like staying low in that balance towards the set.
Hey, Matt, Logan, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just for the people who are listening for the podcast, I know it's easy when you're filming to like hit that space bar or clicker. Just see if you can massage it. You know what I mean?
Oh, am I making?
We're just excited over here.
I'm really excited.
We're excited.
Stop now.
No. That's funny.
Okay, I'll very gently.
Just a little tickled.
Okay,
where are
she
we
said
at
she's
here?
just now. Julie said she's working on setting here, so she wants you to look at that setting with
This is Julie?
blue bathing suit there. Yeah.
All right, perfect. I think I just got a loud keyboard. I think that's the issue.
I think you can use the spacebar.
Can you use
Spacebar.
the spacebar?
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, there it
Spacebar. My spacebar is a lot quieter than my keyboard or my clicker.
Like a mouse.
So kind of the same thing as the last one. You see how just as you finish your Mark, you got me self-conscious about the volume of this. All right, so as you finish here, you kind of it's the same thing. It's just kind of like popping up instead of finishing through with your momentum forward just a hair, which is very, very similar to the last one. Let me look at like the start of this.
Yeah. And a little bit of that hand split too, right? A little bit of that like separated hands instead of exaggerated holds. If you see the AVP ladies practicing, it's like the set is held forever. You know, that boom, set goes up, it's at its peak, then I let my hands separate as well. That's kind of what I'm picking out of that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like squareness to your target, looks perfect here.
Yeah. Do you think it could be a hips thing? Like maybe keeping her hips back a little bit more? Kind of a hinge in the hips a little bit more? Watch that again.
Don't do that.
Don't. Never mind. Oh, dang, I did it. Sorry. It's like the hips are pushed forward a little bit more. Whereas, like, I feel like they could be sitting back.
Yeah, just kind of popping up instead of continuing your momentum forward. It's really calm, though.
It is. Yeah. It's not frantic at all.
Back in here. Ooh, watch that one again.
Julie says, I've been working on the comm. Thank you.
Nice.
Looks great.
So I feel like, I mean, this is a good decision to go back here. The only thing I would say is it looks like your setter's at like 12 to 15 feet. So this is kind of a situation that Mark and Matt were talking about earlier, is if this ball is off the net, it's really hard to like, because at this point you're a right side attacker. So it's really difficult if this ball is 15 to 12 feet off to like stack onto your setter. Because now if you just look at the angle of this, this set has to be in like a perfect like 2-foot window for it to actually be in front of your right shoulder. And even in the best case scenario, it's coming from like over your left shoulder. So you don't really have any vision onto the other side. So in this case, if you're going to go back, this might be one where we want to kick farther out to your right. So we create a better angle to actually attack this ball, and it's not coming over our head quite as much.
Yeah.
Because as we go through here, you can look, like if you can see tough to see, but your eyes are straight up, if not like looking behind you here to try to track this ball. You can see it better there, right? Like you're looking straight up at this ball instead of kind of some vision out as well as seeing the ball up. It's just all ball. And then it's really hard to track that into your hand that way. So if we do pass this the same way, right? Like,
she said she was blinded by the light too.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So if we get farther out here, then we're coming in on an angle that actually allows us to track the ball into our hand instead of just staring up at the bright lights that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's, Logan, Matt, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
What do you guys prefer when a right side passes deep on their own side? When you're hitting, so you pass as a right side, and basically, let's just say you passed straight up where you served receive from. I've had different athletes, very high level athletes that I've played with and played against, treat this in a very different way. Some just start deeper and they still stay in a straight line and they say, no, I'd rather chase it with bigger steps. Some work their way out wider and they create that triangle so that they have more court in front of them, even though they've added some left arm space for their set. In other words, they're in danger of the ball falling on their non-hitting arm, but they're hoping that their setter can get it out to the antenna. So would you rather back up and approach almost with your heels on the back line to make sure that the ball is always in front of you? Or would you guys rather kick out on the right side so that you're a little bit triangulated, but the ball might end up on your left? What's your preference? What would you teach?
So if there's absolutely no wind factor to this, me being a taller player that doesn't need I would rather be in control rather than having a big runway. Okay. So for me, like let's say I'm this girl on the right side, and you're saying that I basically pass right to where I'm standing. Mm-hmm. So Hayden used to do this. Is we would call this he would literally just say like to the net, to the net, to the net. So if it's anywhere in the back half here, John's getting out and closer to the net.
Okay.
And he's basically expecting me to kind of low lob this ball out somewhere near the antenna. And then he's going to come on that angle like Matt was talking about earlier. He's coming in at an angle, but super controlled because he's only at like 5 or 6 from the net already, like 5 or 6 feet from the net already. And he's just going to step close and basically pick that ball off somewhere here. So for me, I would rather have that because it's an easier set, and it's already kind of a broken play. I would rather be more in control and sacrifice a little bit of athleticism than getting all the way back here and trying to make this like really long approach.
Okay. So basically, if you're a right side and you pass on top of yourself so that the setter is basically getting almost an I formation with you, get the hell out of I formation, go wider, and then make sure that you create that triangle. Okay, so that's what we're saying. It could be because you don't want a long run up, and at the same time, you also hate to look backwards. Looking backwards or over your shoulder is the worst, and there's a way to cheat that. You can change the way your hips and your shoulders face so that, okay, maybe I'm not like facing the court with my hips and my chest now. I might be facing the sideline of the other side of the court. But in terms of how I'm approaching the ball is now in front of me. And now I can use my wrist to just carve, like we were talking about with Matt at the beginning of the call, right? That's definitely easier to approach a ball with your chest moving towards the ball than it is to wait for a ball to come over your shoulder and then spike it forward. Yeah. That's what I think. And some players treat this differently, but I think most will kick out on that right side. Make sure that your left hip is open to the ball. So you might be facing the antenna on the opposite side of the court. Then you wait for the ball to get in front of you and you go after it with your chest and your hips.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, when I don't play right side that often, but when I do play right side, that's my one spot that I do not want to miss the pass to. So I would rather, if I'm on the right side, I would much rather err either like this way and tighter rather than up and down on me, because this is probably the most difficult ball. If I pass right on top of me on the right side in the back half of the court, that's probably the most difficult ball to actually get a good approach to.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's going to happen, but the key there is trying to limit the amount of times that you actually end up passing right there.
Yeah, pass better.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Do you think in this setting, do you think there's some sort of mental block in the attacker's head of, do I trust my setter enough?
Yeah, there's always that line of trusting your setter. Um, but Carrie Shue, who used to coach for us, and she now runs Sandbox in Logan. Help me. Where does she move to? Wisconsin. Okay. There's a whole bunch of states in the middle there that. She
all
said
states in between New York and California.
I thought it was just open land. I thought this is the Oregon Trail. She said we play for perfect and we adjust to bad.
Yeah.
So you design yourself so that you're in the right location, right? And then of course you're ready, prepared athletically to say, could I change direction out of here? And that's why slow to fast approaches mean everything. Because if you start your approach by gunning it on your first step, changing direction is harder because you're already going max distance, right? When I'm playing with a beginner or when I'm playing with like my 10-year-old niece, I'm saying, push it to the net, but I'm not yet running to the net. I'm paused in there. I'm saying, I'm encouraging what should happen, but I'm also athletically prepared to adjust to the bad stuff. And more beginners, more intermediate players need to do this. And I always love the way John Mesco, if you guys, he was a long-term pro for the AVP. He always said when he had a terrible pass or a terrible dig, he would wait at the net and scream at his running setter, "Get greedy!" Like, you know, make the best set, no matter how far you've run and how much you're diving for this set. Make the best set, and I love that. Like, get greedy, like put me on the net, and it just encourages you the right way. There's one scenario we were in a class the other time, and it's like, hey, like I can't really predict where this person is passing because they're at a lower level. I said, you're a higher level athlete. You have the ability to read. You should be able to see what's going on. So if you're not studying impact windows, if you're not seeing how the ball is approaching somebody else's forearm, you won't know that they're about to screw up or where they're screwing up. So you should be reading your partner's touch with the exact same intensity that you're reading the attacker when they're spiking. It's, oh no, that ball's about to get, it's about to be on their right arm. So it's definitely going to bounce off of the right side of their body. Or somebody's like getting throated. In other words, like the ball is coming up high at their neck and you see their chest start to rise up and backwards, right? Instead of them use a drop step. Once you see somebody's chest pop up, you know that their platform is going to follow. And now the ball is going to go backwards behind them. So that read allows you to get a head start. And I think more people need to focus on asking and trying to get ready for the perfect play. But at the same time, reading how your partner is shaped and how the ball is about to hit their shape. Okay. And that's why we do everything for setting and passing to be as simple as possible. Get your platform out early. Why do we say that? Number one, it's definitely more accurate. The less movement you have late, the more accurate you're going to be. But number two, your partner is judging everything that they're doing based on what they see you doing and how the ball's approaching you. And if they don't see a platform ready to contact that ball, they have no idea where the ball's about to go. And even if you've put it in the exact right location every time, there's some insecurity there that you're just like, something's gonna show up and hit that ball. I just don't know what it looks like yet. and that's weird. It's like you're kind of imagine playing volleyball with an invisible ghost. It's like, yeah, I know the ghost is gonna set me, but I don't know exactly when they're gonna touch it or where they're gonna touch it or how they're gonna touch it. So if you're not looking for that read as a partner, you're not doing your job in totality.
Yeah. And Julie, you said here it looks like that she called behind on that. There's almost no circumstance in the where the setter should be calling the set. If it's super fast or something like that, then maybe. But if she calls behind, and you're thinking she's going to set you in front, make your partner adjust and make them set the ball where you are instead of them calling a set necessarily. Because that's like, I mean, if I pass and Matt's all of a sudden like, as he's setting, he's like, oh yeah, outside. I don't have time to adjust to that. So that should be a pass and then an immediate thought of where you want the set, and then an immediate call. Almost as you're passing, it should be a call of where you're going.
Yeah. So, Julie, that note that Logan just made, we have one very specific video in the library. It's about transition offense. It is in both the defensive course, the Ultimate Defender course, and it's in the attacking course. You need to go to the chapters on transition setting. We have a video that creates a map, and you have to know exactly where you want to hit based on where you dig or pass the ball. It's got nice graphics and everything. So if you haven't seen that video in a while or you haven't found it in the courses, go to that course. It's both in the attacking course and it's in the Ultimate Defender course. It's all about transition offense. Go check it out and make sure that everybody here who's watching, if you guys are members, go to that video because it tells you exactly once you pass, where's the ball going to land? Okay, this is the set I must call. And that means once you call that set, your body has to get to a certain area. Okay. So guys, we're gonna go to Sandy's question. We're gonna get her on live here, but you can X out of that Facebook, but not the page because Sandy already posted. So we're gonna scroll to her.
Julie, the one quick thing I would say about what you're doing here is if you're like practicing setting, try and practice from a little bit more like game-like position. So instead of already starting like at the net standing here, just do this exact same thing, only back everything up on your end like 10 to 15 feet. So then you're getting that like approach to the set rather than your partner passing to you, right? So your partner should already be in like a normal serve receive spot. You can toss that same ball to them, but then they're leading you to a spot instead of just trying to pass the ball straight across to your hands.
Yeah.
That would be my only critique of that.
Yeah, there's two ways to do that I think more players should do. One, when you're doing hitting lines, the person that's hitting or hitting to the passer, stand at the opposite antenna and drive a ball at them so you get a full athletic movement instead of this kind of soft patty cake to the passer, right? That'll get you a more full movement and that'll simulate a real transition. The other way is if you both stand in your serve receive positions, just kind of toss a high ball over your shoulder to where they are so that you start your setting from the natural setting position. So there's two ways. But if you guys are doing hitting lines or warming up for a tournament, do not position the feeder in the front middle of the court where they're doing this really just small patty cake type movement because it's so not game like and it's so strange and weird to be in that little circle. All right, Sandy, we're gonna let you on the call, and we got 5 minutes left.
Hello.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
Talk us through it.
So there are like 5 clips. I was trying to
She's on the beach.
yes.
That's new.
Yes. So yeah, I think I talked to Mario on Tuesdays. I was trying to do the hip and the what's that called? The glass things, push glass.
Oh, break the glass.
Oh,
Yeah.
break the glass. Yeah, but I think a couple of it, I feel like I'm board jumping, um, and I don't really feel much. Like I try, so I don't know. So and I feel like my left arm, it doesn't lift my left arm, and I feel like I should do that because I can open more angles. Also, I try to accelerate like the last couple steps. Like
Sounds like you were trying to do too much. That's a lot to attack in one practice.
so, what should I focus first?
Tough set. You know, we can't really count that when you're out of system.
Yeah. So that these three balls. Yeah. So maybe I should pick one to do first.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about Logan. We were trying to get her to push her elbow back at the same time that she jumps, pushing her right hip forward.
Okay. Yeah.
It looks like there was never separation between her shoulders and her hips when we looked at her last video. So that's what we were trying to encourage her to do last meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you could see that there, Sandy, in that last clip. Your hand, the back of your hand went up and back like this.
Uh huh.
So you never kept your forearm level and boom, got here. Okay. When you bring your hand back like this, then you get stuck and then you go forward. There's no revolution. So it's weird because there's this S curve or kind of circular motion that your hand goes through when you pull your forearm flat and your elbow goes back, and then your hand rotates around as your elbow goes up. So it's a some people call it an S curve. It's almost like a whip, like a circular whip. Your palm right now is going back and up and then slapping forward.
Okay.
So we want to try to almost, I don't want to say this so that AI can attack me down the road, but it's almost like you're slitting your throat.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you're coming up over the thing. So you draw a line with your thumb across your chest, and that'll help you break that glass. But we don't want our hands to go back like we're a scarecrow.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a big difference in those types of movements because from here, if you're watching my video, I pull my arm back, then my hand hangs as my arm and elbow come up. And that has been a whole rotation if I did it in sequence. There's a little circular movement, not a open and forward. It's more like a open and rotate forward.
Does that happen in the air?
Yes, the drawback starts as you're coming off the ground. So your arms, most people think that your arms, your double arm lift, like both arms come up above your head, but they don't. That's for superhumans who have literal like above 40-inch verticals, right? Because they have the time to extend their hands fully and then in the air, then pull back and then go. Most of us need to start drawing back as we're coming off of the ground.
Coming off the ground. Okay.
So your
Yes.
your right hand shouldn't pass over your ear.
Good.
Your right
Oh, I
hand
like
should
that.
pass under your ear.
Then where's your left hand? Like it will be naturally flat, or it will be
You could
up?
say it's kind of reaching towards the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it will never pass my ears. It should be around my chest, going
Yes.
here and turn like this
Mm-hmm.
and go straight. And my left arm should be like naturally up like this.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try. It sounds a lot. We'll see.
One thing, and Mark was actually just talking about this today a little bit. But when you warm up, so the other than the arm, if you look at where this video is right here, you don't get a lot of like torso rotation in this. So as you can see here, like we never see your right elbow from this camera angle, right? It's still like behind your head from this angle. If you're able to separate like your upper body from what your hips are doing, you'll get a lot more like rotation in your shoulders. So then from this same angle, we should be able to see your elbow back here.
Oh, I got you. Now it's here. Now it's like I don't know, but like this moment, the elbow should be here, but now
Yeah.
it's
So if
here.
I turn this way, right? If I'm just here, crunch down. Okay, you can't see my elbow, right?
Yeah, I can't.
Whereas if I get to here, right, and I open my shoulders up more, now I'm like hitting Matt with my elbow, right? So you can see this space between here and here.
On the glass.
Yeah, Matt's the glass. So one thing that's super helpful that you can do in a really controlled when you are like warming up, if you're like throwing the ball back and forth with your partner or just hitting the ball, don't do that with your feet and your hips already like open to the side. Okay. So point your feet and your hips directly at your partner, toss the ball up, and then just rotate from the torso.
Okay.
So my feet aren't moving, my hips aren't opening at all. It's just everything's facing here, and it's just from here to here.
Okay.
It's going to feel really awkward at first because you're probably not like naturally flexible this way. But that little open, and because your body naturally wants to come back to the like normal state, that stretch and then pulling back is what's going to get you more power.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so just try that the next time you're warming up. Even if you're just like throwing a football or a tennis ball or anything, try and do it with, again, like feet, everything is facing basically like on a railroad track at your partner. And then it's just opening with just your torso rotation instead of like hips and feet.
Yeah. Maybe I should record a video on the ground too. So
Yeah, go through that. I know you've been through that setting arm course, the fix your arm swing course. That same drill that Logan's talking about right there. I think that's on day 3, maybe day 3 or 4. Check it, but it's okay. Feet are parallel. I rotate and then I throw. Then I same thing. Like once I get a few throws, then I do that with a ball. Feet stay parallel and next to each other. Then I rotate, and then so your feet are gonna feel locked, but we're not doing that like step forward with our left foot thing because first we have to train our body to rotate instead of transfer. And if we can then combine those two, then you get ultimate power.
got it. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
because you can see the same thing here,
uh-huh.
right? So you're there's not really any rotation in your upper body.
No.
So you're just trying to use like a lot of arm. It's funny because Mark and I actually worked back in like 2020 maybe with an arm swing guy, and he did a lot of video like from my left side, and it was crazy because I felt like I was getting my elbow way back, and then I looked at the video and it was the same thing. The camera was over here and I couldn't see my elbow at all. And I was like, wow, it really feels like I'm getting back there. And then after a while, watching that video from the back, it was like, okay, I really need to like feel that stretch and open my shoulders up in order to actually be able to see my elbow from that camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that makes way more sense. I don't think I ever see my elbow. Like after you point out and do the side view.
There's
Yeah.
a before and after video on my Instagram if people follow me on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Logan, maybe we could get you to find that, and then we'll post it into the complete player group, and then we could check it out.
Okay. Thank you. So should I focus on rotation first?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I will do that first, and I will see how it goes and do something else. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. Guys, members, coaches, thank you so much. Julie, best way to film is usually the back middle of the court, but if we are looking at her arm swing specifically for this rotation, this would be a perfect view, this sideways view, so that we can see that rotation. So really, best way to film depends on what skill specifically you're working at and what part of what skill, right? If I want to see how your hands stay together or don't stay together when you're passing, well, then I would just want to be like kind of by the pole of the volleyball net, seeing you there. If I want to see your whole game strategy, then I would say back middle. If I want to see what distance you're approaching from the net, because that's become an issue, then we would go back to the side. So I would say just keep flowing between side view and back middle, just so that you get a bunch of different looks. If we're looking at this specifically, the rotation of our arm swing, then yeah, let's get that side view. If you're looking at the distance of your approach, let's get that side view. If we're looking at if you're moving away from your setter, in other words, creating space for your arm after your pass, then we would want that back middle view. We hate the back corner view. So for any members, anybody who's filming, the back corner of the court, I do not like that view. I think the only thing that you want to look at when you're doing that is if you are specifically looking at if your blocker is effectively putting their hands in the right place for a cross block. That might be the only time you use a back corner view. So that's that. But we are going to wrap this up. So, members, appreciate you. Anybody who's listening, if you want this type of coaching, then you head over to betterbeach.com/coaching. You sign up, and you would, if you want to get on the calls with us, and we'll have different coaching guests, like Logan was willing to grace us with his presence today, then you would sign up for the elite upgrade, where we get to talk and have these conversations. And that's it. You guys got to follow these guys on Instagram, Logan Weber and Matt Hazel, so that you can send them all of their congratulatory messages when they're qualifying and winning a Manhattan AVPs. Also, Virginia Beach, August 24th and 25th, we have a clinic for you. Florida, if you guys want to come to Florida for 3 days, or you live in Florida, in St. Pete Beach, August 25th to 27th, we have a 3-day camp. And I think all of our fall and winter camps are on sale now. This is the first time we get to announce this. Very exciting for all of my Florida people. Listen up. Wednesday nights this fall, we have a Better at Beach League at the Postcard Inn. Yup, Maddie is going to be our league director, and we are going to be running those as well as some small lessons on those Wednesday nights. So come hang out with us Wednesday nights, St. Pete Beach. It's starting this fall. We will release the links, but reserve every evening Wednesday this fall. If you're in Florida, we're going to have food discounts with Postcard Inn. We're going to have drink discounts with the Postcard Inn. We're going to have music. And of course, it's Florida weather in the fall, so it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, I'm the DJ.
No,
and Matt's DJ.
Matt's gonna go a cappella for the whole night, every Wednesday night.
I don't want to end this call without acknowledging how close Logan has to get to the camera to be able to read the chat.
I don't have very good vision, so I'm literally like, wait, Billy's moving now. Perfect. And I'm back.
That's why we're trying to get you to hit over people. We know you can't see anything on the other side of the court.
With the sunglass sunscreen for the tan too. Yeah, it's great.
Nice. And if you guys have any ideas, any facilities, or if you are a video editor, wannabe, or successful podcast producer, we would love to have you on our team. We'd love to have you also editing some videos. And if you are an SEO writer and you know volleyball, like at an advanced level, if you have SEO skills and you know volleyball, we could use you. And if you have sales skills, we could always use you. So if you want a job, I'm not saying that we're hiring for every position, but we're open to hiring for every position. So just get in touch. We'd love to keep growing our team. And if you want to become a Better at Beach certified coach, just head over to betteratbeach.com/coach. And then you get to hang out with me, Maddie, Logan, Brandon, Chad, and we get our fun coaches meetings. And you get to coach with us at our camps.
No,
that's right. If you are a Better at Beach coach, then you get into the coaches matches. So you get to play against all these pros. Cool. Logan, Matt, thank you guys so much. Awesome as always. To the elite members, thank you guys so much for all your hard work and dedication. And let's continue to get better. Oh, nice. Everybody who was on the call, please leave your browser open so that this can continue to upload. It takes a few minutes after we close it down for the video to upload from your computer, and then we can have a full podcast and video. All right. Thanks, everybody. Guys, if you're in the South Bay, it's me and Brandon's birthday on Saturday. Come hang out all day Saturday, 2nd Street. We're going to be there. It is an open invite to the entire world. So come hang out, we'll play volleyball, cornhole, and all that good stuff. Yeah. All right. And come to the Manhattan Beach Open, where I will be helping Logan and Hagen in their box, and they will be winning an AVP and getting their name on the pier. Later.